So I was asked by Paramarquette 1223 that while I was out here to do an update on Quincy and Torch Lake number 3. And here it is. Well, okay, this boiler here, this first boiler is not number 3. The one behind it with the smashed up cab is. And yeah, as you can see, that's probably not savable. You'd have to build a whole new cab for it. And really, the boiler is in such bad shape that it, in a lot of places, would need new plates put on it. So when it first came here, it's thought that this would be the replacement when number 2 went down for its overhauls. And so they got it just about, I think it was the late 70s they got it. But they went through and they noticed how bad the boiler was, and so they got this boiler over here. I think what they said is they have this on a 100-year lease. Don't ask me how that works, but supposedly it'd probably be leased for about $1 a year based on how things are. It is in much better shape compared to the actual number 3 boiler on here. It's a little bit different spacing wise for the steam dome is kind of the same though, so it wouldn't be too bad. And you could probably still take a lot of the parts off this boiler here to put on this one, and of course you need a whole nother smoke box. This here is the frame for the number 3, and it's got the lead truck on it. It's a 260 mogul type locomotive, and as you can see, the pistons, the steam chests on it are set at different angles. They're not going straight up, but they're sideways. I kind of think it almost looks like one is off, but you see it's the tops, little steps on the tops of the chest that are kind of not sitting all the way down on it. So that's what gives it that appearance. And we got some other parts for it. The weeds have really come up in the last few weeks here, just like it does over in Wausau. We got a sandy soil area, and if you don't spray it very often, it gets kind of weedy. You need to take the weed sprayer out. It's over here in the train and gets along the main line, because it's starting to grow up in places out there as well. But anyway, we got the number 3, and or what's left of it. So we got the frame, and we got 2 boilers. One's the original that has the cab, what's left of the cab on it, and we got a leased boiler. And this one probably won't ever run, at least not here. If we keep it here, then it's probably going to be a cosmetic restoration like number 4. I thought we might stop by the number 4 on the photo chart, but we didn't, and we actually ran short on time, so we just went by it. So I can't do an update on number 4 like I'm doing for this one or any of the other engines, especially 1225, because I'm over there almost every week. But yeah, the number 4 is a 280 type consolidation locomotive. It's actually smaller than this. This locomotive weighs about I think it's 42 tons. So this is actually about the same size as the Lehigh Valley Coal 126 tank engine. And it's actually, I think because it has a bigger boiler on it, it's actually bigger than the 152. 42 tons as opposed to the 152, which I believe is 38 tons. So it's actually, even though it's a 260 and the 152 is a 460, this one is actually bigger. And another thing is, this is the only real piece of equipment here, narrow gauge wise, that ran in Michigan, albeit it was up at the very tip, up in Houghton area on the Kiowa Peninsula, the Upper Peninsula, running to the mines to get the copper ore. and it would do that, getting some side dump gondolas. And really, that was the only remnants of narrow gauge in Michigan. Other than this, this the Huckleberry isn't originally narrow gauge. I mean, it when they it's originally a Pere Marquette branch line that runs out here behind on the other side of the building, which is the side that you usually see when you're on the train. That was originally standard gauge out there, and I guess when the parks bought it, someone on the board said, "Oh, we gotta have narrow gauge stuff." So I think that's probably how it came to be. So they got a bunch of narrow gauge stuff out here now, and it's 3-foot narrow gauge, just in case you've never seen it before and you're wondering. As you can see from the flat cars here, these are the Baraboo ammunition plant flat cars that came with number 11, which is looking like it's in pretty rough shape as well as these flat cars based on how the paint's coming off of it. I'll show you that in the shop when I do the 152 update. But so number 3, yeah, if it's gonna stay out here, it's probably gonna be cosmetically restored, probably not to run. But I think I mentioned last year how they might send this up to the UP to one of the copper museums up there to show what an overhaul on a locomotive up there might look like. So that's the update on number 3. Number 4, as I mentioned, I wasn't able to get any footage of that, but it's a 280, and it was built by Baldwin. And this number 3 was built by Brooks Locomotive Works in 1894. Brooks is one of the 8 builders that merged to form the American Locomotive Company in 1901. So that would be this locomotive's heritage. The number 4, which is out down the line, main line, lumber setup, is cosmetically restored as a Crossroads Lumber Company locomotive, and it was built by Baldwin in 1904. And so we got 3 Baldwin locomotives out here and 1 Brooks. And the number 4 originally operated in Mexico on the Potosi y Rio Verde Railroad, which is out in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. And I think I remember last year I showed you some of the scrap that was laying out in front of the machine shop. And one of them was the fuel tank that carried the oil in the tender for that locomotive. I don't think it ever ran on anything but oil. It was, being that the Yucatan is mostly jungle, if it is trees, and the rest of it's flat, almost subtropical desert. I went to the Yucatan cruise a couple of years ago, and let me tell you, it's a nice place, but there's until you get way south in it, there's no trees whatsoever, other than, there's huge clearings and things like that. So it probably never ran out of wood. It was always an oil burner, and it ran down there, and it's doubtful of that number 4 will get running again unless someone wants to pay the money for it. And it probably wouldn't be a good fit for this line, because unlike this locomotive and the number 2, its driving wheels are much smaller. I think they're only like 30 inches in diameter. So they'd be really spinning to run out here, even though it's really only 20 miles per hour, 25 miles per hour, but still, wheels that small would be spinning around about as fast as the wheels on the cars. So that's my update on Quincy and Torch Lake number 3, and some information on the Potosi Rio Verde number 4, which is not in this video. Hopefully we'll get video of that sometime in the future. So from Crossroads Village here in Flint, Michigan, here's number 3.